What's up, guys? We're in my office tonight. Welcome back to the channel. First off, I'm going to be doing a install slash why you need this product video tonight, and kicking it off, what that product is this right here. This chunk of metal right here. What is it? Your centerpiece. What is it? What the heck is it? Why do you need it? So, first off, it is the Artec TJ LJ boatside body mount. So, if you have a TJ or an LJ, you know that the body mounts are always taking hits. Your rock sliders, there's not very many rock sliders out on the market that actually protect the mount. The mount hangs down lower than what the actual the rock sliders do. So if you're going to take a rock right up underneath the body right there where the body mount is, it's going to get messed up. The rocks are going to crush it, bend it, rip it off. Some way it's going to get messed up. So what these are a bulletproof, very, very stout replacement. So you can see this would be where the body is mounted, and then you go through the bottom, and that's where your bolt would go, right through here into the body. So that bolt is going to be secured inside of here, and then from the front of it, you can tell how this is. They call it the boat side body mount because it's like a skid plate. You hit and it's going to roll under. And it's strong. This is 3/16 plate all the way around, and it's just a lot stronger. It ties into the frame the whole way around, so you can weld it all the way. You can access from up here to weld the inside. And these actually give you 1.25 inches of body lift. They do make them without a body lift, but these, I'm actually going to do a whole boat side slider on the side of the race LJ. So I wanted these up and out of the way. Now the rules do state that you can only do a 1-inch body lift in the stock class. So I'm basically going to have machined aluminum body mount spacers. Normally they're like a polyurethane or a rubber from the factory, but I'm just going to have them solid aluminum because anytime you're tying in a cage or anything like that, you want that body definitely solid. You don't want any movement or anything like that because you're going to tweak something. The frame or the roll cage is tied into the frame. So you don't want the frame moving separate from the body and the roll cage moving separate from the frame. You want it all tied together. You want a solid structure. Now granted, that might not be the most comfortable riding vehicle for the street, but hey, this isn't a street-driven vehicle. This is going to be an off-road, purpose-built rig that's not going to see the roads anymore. So I'm going to take you out to the shop, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, the weak body mounts. I'm going to show you how to cut them off, the techniques that I've found that work. I already did the other side, so kind of learned some things with that. It is pretty simple. You can actually install these with the body still on the Jeep. You just need to raise it up a little bit and cut them off and then weld these in place. I am going to do one with the plasma cutter, and then I'm going to do one just the angle grinder. A lot of you DIY guys, everybody's got an angle grinder. You have to. If you're going to do any type of fab work at home in your garage or anything like that, you need a angle grinder. It is key. I use mine all the time, and you can't go without it. So if you don't have an angle grinder, you probably shouldn't be taking on this project because that means you probably don't have a welder. But so I'm going to do it without the plasma cutter, and then I'm going to do one with the plasma cutter, showing you both ways, and then installing them. So let's get out to the shop. Let's knock these out. So for a comparison, there's your stock body mount. I think it's made out of 1/8 inch. This is the replacement. So you can see how it gives you that 1.25" lift. And then you can see how much more stout it is. So if you're doing this without the body installed, the way that I found was the easiest to make sure that you're putting them back in the right location is to take a square, put it on the inside of the frame, and line it up with the edge of the hole, and then make your mark. And then when you go to place the other one, you'll just put this above it, and then you'll line those marks up with the new body mount, and that'll be pretty close to the right location. For the first mount, we're going to be using the angle grinder because that's probably what most of you will be using. And honestly, it's pretty much the same concept. It's just you're making one cut with the plasma cutter, which is much quicker. So first, you're going to come in and you're going to cut here. You're going to cut across the top here. And then you're going to cut down here. When you do this, you're going to cut right in behind the weld, but you're not going to go all the way through the metal. You're going to grab some pliers or vice grips or something like that and grab it and start bending it, and that'll ensure that you don't get into the frame and that you're cutting into the frame. You don't want to do that. So I have some channel locks. I'm just going to grab the piece of metal. I'm just going to bend it back and forth. And now you have just that weld that you're going to grind off with a flat disc. And you're going to do that for both sides. And same thing, just enough to score it, and then you're going to get your channel locks. Bend it and break it off. And then all you're left is that weld. Now we're going to get our flap disc on our 4-inch grinder, and we're going to grind that off smooth, and we'll be ready to weld our new one in place. We're now going to go over welding techniques for these and the best way that I've found to do them. As far as fitting them up, so this one, that's as far forward as it wants to go. I mentioned in my last video that this 50-50 split on each plate is what you want, and that is not 50-50 split. So we're going to have to knock this into place. They are a little bit tight, so we're just going to take it over to the vise and hit it a few times and get it lined up. So now that we have the top plate in place with the 50-50 split all the way around, we're going to tack it up. So we're going to be placing a tack right here on the front corner, both sides, and the rear. And the way I'm going to tack it is I'm going to tack on this side, then I'm going to tack on this side, then I'm going to tack here, and then I'm going to tack here. Now that we have it all tacked up, now we're going to weld it. The technique that I'm going to use is called pulse welding. It's kind of like a lot of tacks all on top of each other. The reason that you use pulse welding is so you don't overheat the part. You can kind of weld it a little bit hotter on your welding settings, so you can kind of get the welds to set flush, but it doesn't put as much heat into the actual part. And the way I'm going to weld it is kind of the same way that I tacked it. So I'm going to weld this section from this tack to this indicator right here. Then I'm going to come across here. Then I'm going to weld from that indicator down to this tack. Then I'm going to give it a little bit to cool. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to weld from this tack to that indicator. Then I'm going to come to the back and weld from this indicator to that tack. Then I'll come here, I'll weld from that indicator to the tack. And then the same on this side. You just want to spread out your welds so you're not putting so much heat into them.
and overheating the part. But you want to make sure that you're also getting penetration. Having your welder set up correctly is key. Alright guys, now that we have the plasma cutter all set up, we're going to be showing you how to use the plasma cutter on this other bracket if you have one. So the plasma cutter that we have is the Hypertherm PowerMax 30XP Building America edition. This thing is small. Like, this is my hand right here. Like, it's small. The thing's awesome. I take it with me in the truck. I love this thing, and it is powerful. I'll show you something that cut real quick. That's pretty thick. So this is the front axle. You can see how thick that is, and it cut right through that. So small as it is, it's powerful. So we're going to use that real quick, show you how we do that. It's pretty much the same thing, except we're going to use a plasma cutter. So we're going to come in, and we're going to cut down here on top and the other side, just like we did with the angle grinder. And then we're going to come in with the angle grinder and cut right above the welds and break those off. Pretty much the same process, just a lot quicker with the plasma cutter. After you have cleaned up the area and your body mount is welded up, you can go ahead and take the body mount, place it on the frame, line it up with your lines, and then trace around the top of it like I have, and then you know where to grind. So clean up the top of the frame where you need to, and then it'll be ready to be tacked in. For my purposes, I'm not going to need this these two nutserts. Actually, it's four. It's two here, and then there's two right there. And those nutserts are for the factory steps. If you're running the factory TJ or LJ steps, then you're going to want to keep those. If not, you can grind them off. They are really, really close. Pretty much this one just kisses that, it touches it. I'm not going to need them, so I'm going to grind them off. So I'm going to try to hold this with my knee and show you all where I tacked it. So right here, and then on the inside, right on the corners, right there, and right there. So right down in there, and then right here on the edges. So I just did those 4 tacks. For me, I might have to move them. For you, if you're installing them, the body's there, you got them bolted up, and everything's lined up and everything's good to go, then you can go ahead and weld them. But for me, I don't know exactly if this is where they're gonna be, and this is where they need to be. So I'm just gonna tack them, and then after I verify and put the body on and everything's good, then I'm gonna finish welding them up. What's up everyone? This is the day after we installed everything. I actually forgot to do an outro, so I'm doing that now. It's about 10 o'clock actually, right on the money, 10 o'clock. Monday evening. Got to get to bed. I got to be at work at like 5:30 in the morning, so I'm going to go over everything that's done. I'm kind of just going to do an update right now, everything that we've done this far, and kind of go over what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to flip you around and get at it. So as always, it's a mess, because that's how you know work's being done. Alright, so we have the front coil buckets. They are done. We have the rear portion of the body mounts. Like I said, the front ones, they're not going on yet. I gotta see where the location is for the body, but the rear 4, so 2 and 2, 4, those are in, and then The rear coil buckets are good. Just got done finishing up some Steellet. I have them in here because I was grinding on the axle. I didn't want to get dust. So they're in the office in a dust-free environment, drying. So got those coated up with some Steellet just on the inside. Still got to do the outside. So there's that. Now for the axle. So the axle is being prepped so we can get the truss installed. We need to get the truss tacked in place so we can get it underneath the chassis and start mocking up suspension. Tub should be going on sometime soon. I got to figure out how I'm going to get that to the shop. My trailer right now is packed full of trash that I need to take to the dump from the house. We're redoing our house right now, the living room and everything, so it's got all the crap in it from that. But so ground that down tonight and picked up this wheel. I actually have never used one of these, so worked really well. I've always used just the regular flap discs. I'll go over. Picked this up at Lowe's. Not bad. Worked very, very well, actually. And it actually doesn't get into the metal. So it strips just the surface, the paint, and the rust. But here you can see where I ground off the brackets. It kind of gets a little wavy and stuff. But over here, it's all nice and smooth. So it's definitely a win. It's a good product. I like it. So I'm gonna get this uploaded tomorrow, so you'll be watching this around Tuesday. And I'm just gonna keep on doing these update videos as we make progress. That's the word I'm trying to say. I'm just gonna make the videos and upload them as we go, so you all can watch as this goes underway and start seeing the progress and get the body on it and start doing the suspension. I'm going to do little how-tos as we go, and hopefully you all learn something, and we're definitely learning stuff. I've never built a race vehicle before, but we're learning as we go, and I'll bring you all along with it.